KGUN TV has been informing and entertaining Southern Arizonans for more than 67 years.
Yeah, to get a true appreciation of KGUN 9's Absolutely Arizona legacy, you have to go back to the beginning, June 3rd of 1956, when television was in its infancy. For nearly 70 years, KGUN 9 has been a fixture in the Tucson community. But when the station signed on in June of 1956, the call letters were actually KDWI, using the initials of owner D.W. Ingram. He built his TV studio on 6th Avenue with a contingency plan.
A big studio, but in the center of the studio, there's this big H. Well, you ever go get your oil changed and you get raised on one of those? And he was figuring that this building would ultimately have another use if television didn't become a thing.
Within a year, Ingram sold the station, never realizing that television would become a thing. A fan of Westerns, the new owner changed the call letters to KGUN on March 14, 1957. That's also when Channel 9 became an ABC affiliate and when the wildly popular kids show Marshall KGUN debuted.
It had a very small set, a little background that said Marshall KGUN's Circus. And it had some bleachers, and maybe a dozen kids would be at every show.
Scott Vaughn began working at KGUN in 1961, running camera for the Marshall KGUN show. That's also the year Bob Love moved from his role as Pepper, the talking horse, to playing Marshall KGUN.
Came out in front of the camera, and for about 2 weeks, my hands shook so hard that I would have to actually physically hold them. But everything was spur of the moment. Kids never knew what I was going to do. They just loved it.
Bob Love played Marshall KGUN, entertaining kids across Southern Arizona from 1961 until the show went off the air in 1967.
It wasn't a job. It was something that he enjoyed, and he was really good at it. It was great with kids.
There were perks to being the daughter of Marshall KGUN in Tucson.
Right after school, we'd come home and watch Dad, and then he'd come home and bring, you know, all the things that he'd sponsor, you know, like our rainbow bread and Hostess cupcakes.
It was also a treat for kids in the live studio audience.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
Like most kids in the audience, Vicki Housley was celebrating her birthday at the Marshall KGUN Kiddie Show in 1961. Do you remember being in awe or what the reaction was?
I don't think the studio meant that much to me. I don't think I got excited till I saw Marshall KGUN. So, I mean, because he was like, you know, a star.
Right. The one downside to being in studio?
I don't think we could see the cartoons very well. That disappointed me. I think they had like a little screen. So you're sitting in the stands and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Or I might have even thought the cartoons were going to be real when I got there.
Channel 9 played cartoons on the Marshall KGUN show during the day and movies at night for the grown-ups. With an emphasis on local programming, another Tucson TV staple was born, thanks to the imagination and theatrical ability of then program director Jack Jacobson.
We'll do a chiller movie Saturday night. So I came up with the character Dr. Scar.
Until then, friends, this is your host, kindly, lovable Dr. Scar, saying nighty-night.
Did you remember watching Dr. Scar, or were you afraid of watching Dr. Scar?
If my parents would allow us, but usually until we got a little older, we usually could not watch it because it was, you know, sometimes a little scary.
Nancy's father, Bob Love, and Dr. Scar, Jack Jacobson, became fishing buddies. They also routinely made public appearances together for KGUN.
The two of them together, I thought that was kind of a funny combination, you know, the Marshall and Dr. Scar.
The community really caught on to both shows in a way that these were local celebrities.
While these local celebrities were entertaining Tucsonans, Mac Marshall was keeping them informed. A pioneer of TV news, he anchored KGUN 9 newscasts throughout the 60s, laying the groundwork for anchors like Guy Atchley and myself. The 1960s, a decade that established KGUN 9 as an absolutely Arizona part of this community. And KGUN 9 actually had a late-night talk show in the 60s called Lights Out. It was hosted by KGUN personality Larry Schnebley. His first guest, legendary ABC Wild World of Sports host Jim McKay, who was here in town covering the rodeo. So everything was live back then, remember? Yeah. Unless they went to the network programming, it was live or movies.
Yeah. I love just seeing the little girl. Now she's a grown-up, just reminisce. It's just such a good story.
And she was so excited to go. Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine what it's like.
How cool would that have been?
Very cool. And we learned so much, even about our own
our own industry,
Yep.
right?